All right, everyone, I want to tell you a story today, a really special one from a long, long time ago. It's called The Day the World Cried. And it's all about how sometimes, when one heart is broken, the entire world can feel it too.
You know that feeling, right? When your best friend is gone for a while, and even on a sunny day, things just feel off. Like your favorite food doesn't taste as good, or playing games just isn't as much fun. Well, the story we're about to hear is about that exact feeling, but imagine it a million times bigger.
So our story starts with this wonderful, kind king named Yudhishthira. He was a great king and he loved his people. But lately he had this quiet worry growing inside his heart. He was waiting and waiting for his brother, who was also his very dear friend, Arjuna, to come back home.
See, here's what happened. Arjuna had gone on a trip to this faraway city called Dwaraka. He was visiting family, but the main reason he went was to see their best friend in the entire world, Lord Krishna. At first it was fine, but then a few weeks became a few months, and before he knew it, 7 whole months had passed. And that little worry in the king's heart? Oh, it wasn't little anymore. It was getting very, very big. So, as King Yudhishthira waited, he started noticing things. Weird things. It was almost like the world itself was trying to give him these spooky clues that something was really wrong. He felt like he had to become a detective to figure out this big, sad mystery.
And you know what the very first clue was? It came from inside him. He told his brother, "My left arm, my leg, my eye, they keep twitching, and my heart is just pounding with fear." It was this feeling deep down inside that you just can't ignore, telling him something was terribly, terribly wrong.
Then he started noticing the animals. The cows, which were normally so calm and sweet, were crying. They had actual tears in their eyes. Dogs were barking in a really strange and upset way. And then, and this is the most heartbreaking part, the king looked at his own beautiful horses and he saw that they were weeping. Then he started noticing the animals. The cows, which were normally so calm and sweet, were crying. They had actual tears in their eyes. Dogs were barking in a really strange and upset way. And then, and this is the most heartbreaking part, the king looked at his own beautiful horses and he saw that they were weeping. Even the animals could feel the sadness in the air. And it wasn't just the animals. The king realized the whole world felt broken. A nasty wind was blowing dust everywhere, making everything look gray. The rivers weren't peaceful. They were all stirred up and troubled. And when the king looked up at the sky, the sun just seemed dim, like its own happiness had faded away. So, let's look at all these clues together. The king's own body was shaking. The animals were crying. The earth itself was trembling, and the rivers were upset. The sky looked dark and sad.
And he even noticed that people, friends and family, were getting into more arguments. It was like a giant shadow had just fallen over the entire world.
And then, right when the king's worry was at its absolute peak, he saw someone coming in the distance. It was him. Arjuna was finally home. But as Arjuna got closer, the king's happy feeling just disappeared. This was not the joyful return he had been dreaming of for 7 long months.
The king honestly couldn't believe his eyes. The Arjuna who left was a hero, strong, brave, shining almost like the sun. But the Arjuna who came back, he was so different. His shoulders were slumped forward, his head was hanging low, and when he came to greet the king, huge tears just started falling from his eyes and splashing onto the ground. He wasn't just sad, he was completely heartbroken. While seeing his dear friend in so much pain, King Yudhishthira just became desperate for answers. He had to know, what in the world could have happened? What could possibly make the world's greatest hero cry like this? So he started asking question after question, trying to solve the mystery of his friend's tears. The first thing he thought of course, was their family. His mind was racing, and his voice was full of worry. He asked, Arjuna, tell me, please, are our friends and relatives in Dwaraka all right? Is our grandfather okay? Our uncle? He just had to know if they were safe. But Arjuna, he didn't say a word. His face was still hidden. So the king thought, okay, well, maybe someone hurt his feelings. So he asked gently, my dear brother, did someone disrespect you? Did you run into someone who was unkind to you on your journey home?
Still, silence. Arjuna just couldn't speak. The king's mind was scrambling, trying to think of any other reason. He thought, maybe it's not something someone did to him, but something he failed to do. He had to ask, did you forget to help someone who needed you? A child, or an old person, or someone who was sick?
But no matter what he asked, Arjuna just stood there, his face streaked with tears, unable to say a thing. The king had asked about everything he could possibly imagine, but nothing seemed to fit. And then, the most awful, terrible thought of all popped into the king's head. He realized there was only one thing, only one person whose absence could cause this much sadness. Because that terrible thought was about one person, Lord Krishna. You have to understand, Krishna wasn't just a friend. For the king and for Arjuna, he was everything. He was the source of all their joy, all their strength. He was the one who made the whole world feel bright and beautiful. And so, looking at his poor, heartbroken friend, King Yudhishthira finally understood everything. He asked the last question, the one he was most afraid to ask. Very quietly, he said, my dear Arjuna, is the reason you feel this great emptiness inside, is it because you have been separated from your most dear friend, from your heart's friend, Lord Krishna? And that was it. That was the answer. All of it. The trembling earth, the crying horses, the dim sun, and Arjuna's endless tears, it was all happening because their dearest friend, Lord Krishna, had left the world. The entire world was crying simply because it missed its best friend.
It's a powerful story, isn't it? It just reminds us that sometimes one special person can fill our entire world with light and happiness just by being in it. So that leaves us with a question to think about. Who is the friend or the person in your life that makes your world feel bright? That's a wonderful thing to hold in your heart. Thanks for listening today.